Welcome to 2026, and it's a whole new year of cannabis legalization news. Right now, everybody who's got this QR code and has signed up for our emails are getting them all. What happened over the weekend? Like I did a new video, you probably saw it, and there was my predictions for 2026. Have to amend them. We're 4 days into the effing year. Have to amend my predictions. I did not have Trump kidnaps or extracts the president of Venezuela on my list. And guess who has to do the prosecution? The Department of Justice. They were supposed to be helping us out with rescheduling. That probably is not going to happen as quickly as we may have liked. And as a result, we have to change our predictions on that. We're going to think that it won't be the first quarter that Schedule 3 hits. Maybe the second quarter. We're going to unpack that. We're going to talk about why this new regime change. And again, it's a very new and tumultuous situation that's going on with our country in Venezuela. How that it can impact cannabis legalization is our lead story for 2026. We didn't see it happen. We still think 2026 is going to be transformative. We have a whole bunch of more stories from numerous states and also federal stories. And with that, welcome. Thank you so much, especially to our members who have joined that get early access to all of our videos, the people that buy our merch. You guys are just great. And now let's get into cannabis legalization news for another week. The first week, what's going to happen in 2026, we're going to discuss.
What was in those files? Oh, you're on mute, dog. You're on. Here you go. No, I'm on the probably in the StreamYard. You got to click the little.
Those files must be terrible.
I'm telling you.
How can they not be? He just took the leader of Venezuela to New York, and now who gets to prosecute? This is out of cannabislegalizationnews.com, where you can go and also sign up for our newsletter. By the way, get our emails. And so we cranked one out. That's the video that we're doing right now. So yeah, they took him and his wife and gave him an all-expensive, totally inclusive trip to New York. That just means that they're in prison and they have to feed them. And now the Department of Justice has another piece of shit on their plate. They have to prosecute Maduro and his wife for the crimes that they had been charged with years ago. And this is at the same time that they do the December 18th executive order saying, Pam, Ms. Bondi, Department of Justice head, the Attorney General of the United States, go as expeditiously as possible to reschedule marijuana to Schedule 3. The next day is the Epstein file deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out there's another 5 million documents they have to release. And then January 3rd, I put this thing out on January 1st, here's my predictions for 2026. And then the next day I'm like, oh shit, that thing's already done.
Well, and like you said, it was an executive order issue, right? This is not rescheduled yet. Cannabis is not rescheduled, but hemp has been redefined. I mean, this is the present status of legalization as it is.
That's right. Hemp has been redefined. That's just that is a candle burning, and it burns out on November 12th without additional congressional action. The rescheduling is a direction, and so there's a lot of pieces that have to move between here and there. And I thought they would be able to collapse the public hearing and comment under section, I think it's 811 of the Controlled Substances Act, to be able to push out the new final rule by the first quarter. And then there's weird, there's judicial review, and then there's also CRA if they think that it's a major rule, whatever. Those could delay it, but then the CRA requires congressional action. I don't think it's going to happen. You poop this rule out, especially in March or in April. That's primary season. So Congress isn't going to act. They're going to their phony baloney jobs.
Sure.
However, like, I don't know if we can get that done that fast now, because they may procedurally do it so that the appeals definitely lose now that Sam has hired Bob Barr. Hey, you know who is not getting the cannabis legalization news Peace
Sam?
Prize? You know who's not getting cannabis legalization news Peace Prize? Attorney Bob Barr, former Attorney General, has been hired by Sam to help with the appeals process once it does actually become Schedule 3. Hopefully now I'm going to revise my prediction, Q2, Q3. That's what I'm saying. But
again,
it could be later.
Though it's crazy though, man. That's Kevin Sabat and all the other cuckoo people out there who are been prohibitionists throughout this whole time are continuing to delay with the inevitable, right? Like the fact that it just seems they want to hinder more Americans than move the country forward, right? Because rescheduling, and again, rescheduling is not going to legalize it as well, right? You can still lose your job. You can still
it recognizes it as medical. It's still all crap. It's still all bull crap. But it is like the first repeal of the bull crap in 50 plus years. And that's why I don't think, you get Schedule 3. I think you have to kind of like sit there and bathe in it for a few years, because this is clearly a political issue. People clearly believe that this thing is so bad, we have to keep it illegal. And the reason they believe that is politics. They don't believe it because of facts. They don't believe it because of data. They believe it because of politics.
It's crazy to say that though, too. But I mean, it's true. But like the whole, like, for me as an optimist, like we both have our optimism about America, right? Like you really believe that people are going to be law-abiding people, and I just think people in general are good, which is kind of, I guess, the same thing. But I also think most people in the system are corrupt, right? Like, but there's going to be many components before we get to the point of OTC, right? To the point where we get that gas station weed back again.
That's some interesting stuff that we're going to be doing a lot of content on. I was thinking about the hemp bill, and I got this thing about the hemp bill I didn't want to tell you. And so you're going to have to watch the next like hemp bill one. Then we do. It's like the new hemp math and why like it's really going to save the farmers. And so like, that's really cool. But then not only that, then like part of that hemp bill math is got to do with the putting it on Medicare, and to put it on Medicare, like this stuff has to move.
Yeah.
And then now the Attorney General also has to prosecute, the president of Venezuela and his wife. And so like, she's got enough on her plate. She has to release 5 million Epstein documents. She's got to like reschedule marijuana in the most expeditious way possible. How many Supreme Court cases from this administration are there pending? Like, it's just so much work for the Department of Justice to be able to accomplish in such a small time that I'm like, there's just no way we're getting this done in Q1. But Chad Westport, don't forget to check out his channel. He just did a really cool one on one of the loopholes. And again, like, I'm going to eviscerate the last remaining loophole to save the farmers, but that's going to be in a future video. And it takes congressional actions. They don't listen to me that much. And so he asks, does Schedule 3 come about before all these large loan payments are due? Is just another way to those in power are carving the turkey. Those large loan payments, it depends on the maturity date. There's billions of dollars of maturity dates that are coming up in this year.
When you say large loan payments, is it like, are you talking regards to like all the hemp people that like had the legal background bullshit?
Okay, so we get our dispensary open because we're not allowed to get construction loan because what we do for a living is illegal.
Right.
And, then I have to like go home to Dunlap, Illinois, where everybody works for Caterpillar, and be like, no, I'm a good upstanding guy. But anyway, and so it's strange, but
I get you.
There is a way that bankers do their loans, and it's typically it's a 5-year balloon and a 20-year AM, right? And so that 5-year balloon payment that they refinanced in 2021 is coming due in 2026, 5 years later. And so that balloon comes up if marijuana has been rescheduled. The DSCR, the debt service coverage ratio. Hey, wait a second. With that kind of shit, when we talk about debt service coverage ratios, we need to be getting into way too low, way too low. Debt service coverage ratio, baby. And so, like, that's right. That's why you tune in and subscribe to Cannabis Legalization News, because they will explain to you debt service coverage ratio. Anyway,
but these are business practices, though, right?
I'm sorry that I am not just smoking on screen and asking you, like, what's going on with all this stuff? But, you know, there's other YouTubers out there that'll do that. And so what happens is the banker who has that loan will review your ability to repay it. And so, like, let's use Trulieve. If you have like a $600 million tax obligation that is now gone, and you can show, it depends on how, like, they're presenting it to the banker. Are they presenting to the banker with 280E liability and then also without 280E liability, probably with both? Mm-hmm. So if you could show it without the 280E liability, then you're going to get that loan renewed. And so you would have a new maturity date in 2031, 5 years down the road from 2026, and then you would have the same 20-year AM. And so they would use prime plus a couple of percents on top of it. So, like, for ours, once we get our dispensary open and operational, and we don't have to do any more CapEx construction on it, we will. And you're going to be on this loan, by the way.
Sure.
Anyway, so we would then submit that loan package to underwriting at that credit union, and we would get a 5-year balloon, which means that you're paying your mortgage as if it's a 20-year mortgage. And then after 5 years, your whole mortgage comes due.
Damn.
Because that's just safe and sound banking practices, safe and sound banking principles, where you allow the business, because, like, who knows what's going to happen in 5 years. So they want to have a pretty tight maturity date, even though the rule of real estate is that it goes up, with the exception of, like, the huge mortgage crisis that we had 15 years ago. I mean, it tends that real estate, because of inflation, will go up. So the banker feels like they are adequately collateralized.
Sure. But again, when you talk about these kind of loans, though, you're talking about established businesses or businesses that are going through the actual
that have
law-abiding the law-abiding practices. I just had to address something real here. This guy telling me that there's so many stupid, ignorant people out there, and I hate to say it, just ignorant. But I didn't know anything about THC until Neo's stream, and I know he's talking about. I was on Neo's stream. We were talking.
Oh, bullshit, man! You go way back with me. I did that video about THCA in 2019. I did that video about THC. People were using me to sell their fucking flower. They're using me and the Trump administration to sell their shit.
But again, it's all THC, right? Hemp and cannabis. It's all the same fucking thing, right? It's all the same components of this plant. People have been just hustling this, like, loophole, calling it. And I hate to say, like I hate these people who are like, well, why you gotta hate the hemp industry? I don't fucking hate the hemp industry. Hemp is supposed to, like, save the world. It was supposed to, like, replace plastics, petroleum, wood, clothing, right? There's so many utilizations of this plant that we can do, but instead we focus on the consumption. And so the people selling consumption products, you want to be fucking weed. That's what it comes down to, right? Don't be like, oh, it's all hemp, bro. No, you want to be fucking weed. And that's unfortunate, because I just watched the Chris 420 Blaze It video today, where he his most recent one, he bitches about the THCA people. And I think it's silly. He thinks, like, oh, there's this optimistic year where they can all, like, come back. But no, man, like, what we've been saying, and again, we don't hate you. You made your bag. Good on you. Like, I give respect. I was watching his videos where he walks people on how to, like, order these packs and flip them. You do you, man. Fucking. Well, but, like,
that was the lack of enforcement, and that was all of that type of stuff where you just go, like, hey, the DEA is watching you. Like, they don't have the money to enforce. A lot of these states have legalized. They don't have a political capital to enforce, and now it's turned off. Now you gotta make sure you do this, man. You gotta, like, you hit that, you turn this off first, then you turn that on. Commercial. Wait, hang on. Stretching this. You got to hit the DZ. That is, shout out to Kind Pen, former sponsor, maybe a new one. But we got a new sponsor, and so we're going to flip to the new sponsors stuff right about now.
Nice.
The federal shift towards Schedule 3 doesn't rewrite your license strategy. Having the right dispensary footprint and operational playbook in place before regulators fully implement that new policy. That's where Collateral Base comes in. We help cannabis businesses win dispensary licenses, structure compliant operations, and manage stores. Link below. We help clients navigate licensing, compliance, and operations so they win in the new regulatory era.
Finally, my man makes commercial.
That's right. I just can't wait until... Like I need to warm up the DZ. You know, it's only at 325. Okay, wait, and we are passing decarboxylation temperature right about now. If you are passing decarboxylation temperature right about now, don't forget to subscribe to Cannabis Legalization News. And if you really want to get all these things first, become a member. Throw us a super chat. What is on your mind? We've got our next story coming up. Miggy, why don't you take that so I don't have to violate the YouTube terms of service?
There you go. Yeah. So this one, our next story is coming from the American Legion. Let me just click the right thing. Oh, fuck me. Anyways, that works for now. They're talking about how it's good for the veterans, right? How rescheduling is good for the veterans. Like rescheduling has a lot of promise, folks. Like this is nothing to be mad about. It's not going to take away the culture. It's not going to, I mean, what is the culture? What is the industry? Right? People don't worry about the, what I'm just saying, like people don't worry about the beer industry. Yeah, but that's the fun part. But you know, the fact that we got, because we have two stories in a row where different groups are praising rescheduling, right? Because doctors can now like talk about it, you know, like as much as
I love it. I can't wait till doctors like they don't talk about nutrition in med school and they don't talk about marijuana.
ECS, endocannabinoid system, right?
Yep. ECS.
Yeah. So there's so many opportunities.
Grok is up on it. Go to X and ask Grok about the ECS.
Well, it's a holistic thing. This is why it should be mainstream. It should be part of your lexicon, you know, cannabis, right? Like not everybody takes aspirin or ibuprofen. We all have our different reactions to these things. But like one day, and I saw in the comments earlier was asking if there'll ever be gas station weed again. And there will be, I think. I think so.
No,
evolution.
Like, not for a decade.
Yeah, decade.
And so like, you know, there's gas station liquor, but like we've been selling liquor for decades. And so we haven't started selling like cannabis yet, really. And so I think there'll be gas station CBD, but why would you buy gas station CBD when you could buy it from a stream of commerce that you could use your HSA card or your Medicare card to cover it for $500? I mean, that I was running the numbers on that. That's billions. And so like hemp farmers, you know, go back to the original strains, go back to AC/DC, go back to Lifter, go back to Trump #1 and the wife. You know, like those are going to be the strains that I think are going to be what makes it out. And then some of those are going to help these veterans here, like with the American Legion's tackling the therapeutic value of cannabis for veterans. That, you know, and we have some quotes from Dan Wiley, the national commander from the American Legion. Sometimes we measure our advocacy and success in months or even sessions of Congress. In the case of the recent reclassification, it took nearly a decade. Keep it going. You're still on the clock. You're still in the taxi. You have not gotten to your destination yet. You can leave your Uber now, but you ain't at Schedule 3. Remember that. That was one of the first things that I disabused you. Sorry about that verb. It does not mean that I abused you or like did not unabuse you. It means that I clarified your misconception from thinking that marijuana is already Schedule 3. No, I was hopeful that it would be the first quarter. Now we got to prosecute Maduro. And so like, that's going to be like, that's a priority stack over at Department of Justice. And so like, it was all expeditiously and then invade Venezuela. And like, it was pretty ballsy, like, and pretty like freaking badass that we were able to extract the leader of Venezuela that fast. I mean, don't fuck with Palantir, man. Don't fuck with the United States anymore.
I really got nothing on the whole situation. I think it's fucked. But the next one is from the Nurses Association, the American Nurse Association. They too support rescheduling.
Yes, so pop it up.
You know, here we go. Boo. ENA and ANA back rescheduling. Both associations support moving marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 to enable research and evidence-based clinical use. You know, I mean,
love it.
Yeah.
Evidence-based clinical use.
You know,
Just so sweet on your ear.
And people will say we have that already, right? Like, I know people take strains for Crohn's disease and all this other stuff, different conditions, which cannabis does help for. But how do you establish this overall knowledge, right, for doctors and nurses or whatever? They're gonna have to. What's your business email, dog?
Oh, dude. Whenever there's a lot that'll ask you. Just always ask for their traffic data. And then
I get you. Oh, I see. He was asking about the Roku. But like rescheduling is creating a path for like more legitimacy, no? Right? Because eventually we will have OTC, I think, in my opinion. If people are buying crap,
we'll have OTC I think we'll have OTC for CBD. And I think we'll actually have like DTC, but like the same way we have
what is
DTC? We're not there yet.
Direct to customer?
The Senior Savvy Cannabis channel. Shout out to Senior Savvy Cannabis channel, by the way. They have kind of the lock on like with the CBD, CMS, the Medicare services reimbursement. How do you get your costs reimbursed from Medicare?
I haven't. I mean, as far as from the government, the process.
Yeah, like if we're gonna federally subsidize marijuana.
Oh, right.
Or I'm sorry, federally subsidize cannabis to the tune of $500 a CBD for every senior on Medicare. There is a payment gateway system that we have to make and put out there, which already exists. So like that's one of the nice things. We just have to figure it out and copy it. But that's billions. I mean, like there are 30 million Americans and growing on Medicare.
Isn't this
10%? 10% is 3 million. 3 million times $500. Gee, many frickin' Christmas.
But you talk about the purchasing process, right? In the background. Is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah.
Like how did they get that? But isn't that I mean, I'm early on, and when we started doing this, there was somebody prosecuted for that, right? Wasn't it like fraudulent funds because they were using a credit card system?
Yeah, it's not there yet, and so like that's why that's why I like that point of my. I mean, check out the video that I put out. I wasn't the biggest fan of my thumbnail. You know, the AI rendered it. It was all right, but not as good as Legal News Network's thumbnails, and they were. And I was like explaining about how this hemp thing may be like the best thing for the farmers that's ever happened. And they just don't get it yet because they're so addicted to selling marijuana. This hemp subsidy could be worth billions of dollars. The THC ratio could be worth billions of dollars, but we're not there yet. And because of that, we have time to structure for ourselves and our clients how to take advantage of that opportunity.
All right. But again, rescheduling, I think, is the monster that people, and another thing people don't consider. I just learned the other day that when you do a drug test, most of the time they're testing for Schedule 1 and 2 drugs, not 3. So that'd be another way of like protecting.
Wasn't that one of our stories coming up later, like with the truck?
Well, that's more of them taking into consideration the driving. They said it's not going to change, which I think they're going to like still. Like ding you for positive, but in the end
they'll still keep testing for it even though they don't have to.
Right. And I think for the rules, though, someone will fight it. Another lawsuit that will happen, right? This is something that has to evolve for protections, like again, rescheduling is just one step in many that we have to do to get to the end, because in the meantime, we're going to have silly things like in USA Today, Adam Levine, he's the former owner of
convicted felon.
Convicted felon.
You could introduce him as convicted felon Adam Levine. Go ahead and zoom in on her right there. Here it is. Convicted felon Adam Levine is an opinion contributor. So I would bet money that convicted felon Adam Levine, who's probably in federal prison right now, did not write this, and he took money from Sam to get this published. Now, he may have, quote unquote, written it by like having Sam write it for him and then run it by him to say like, yeah, it's good. That's good.
Well, again, the guy didn't give a fuck about the plant culture, or anything. He was a stooge.
He didn't give a fuck about his investors either. I mean, like we can.
Yeah.
What did Adam Levine do? That's one of the things we should have. We should have had like the second slide just to immediately undermine them. But we don't have anybody that helps us with this. And like, it's been the holidays. One of the days, like when we actually get the dispensary open, we are going to hire somebody whose job is marketing. And that will be their job. It's like, well, help us out with this, figure that out.
We all agree on deschedule, but it ain't gonna happen anytime soon, buddy. Like
Right.
That's the thing we've been.
Yeah, as long as we're waiting for descheduling, I would like a flying car.
Hey, I would like Medicare for everybody.
There we go. Why is my pony not a unicorn?
Why don't everybody have a car? I don't know.
How come Miggy and I have been doing this since we were young men?
Oh my God. Seriously. Well, and again, this fight has been older than us, where we stand on the shoulders of people before us, and I find our position to be very
dead people before us now. Like that's how long it's been going on. You guys are all freaking lucky Tommy Chong's still alive. It's just a freaking blessing. But Perron is not alive, and then neither is Jack Harrer, which I find that I think Jack Harrer, if that's really his name, cool. Like he didn't need like a stage name. But those people have passed, and then there's been numerous other people that have passed, and then there's numerous other people that are in federal prison. So, like, shout out to Freedom Grow and what they're doing to help put some money on people's commissary, because like when the weight of the federal government leans on you,
it's not fair.
You can't compete. Yeah, you're not going to win. I mean, like ask Luke Saroy or Maduro.
Frank Rogers is in there right now. Yep. So, and then so we have coming up. Our next story is Congress is scheduling the legal consequences of scheduling marijuana.
Yes. Legal consequences of rescheduling marijuana. I believe that was from Congress.gov, and so they put out stuff. The CSR, as it's called, I think, or the CRS, the Congressional Reporting Services, because this may surprise some of our viewers and our listeners. If you're listening to this, you can get this podcast and take it with you if you're not able to make it on YouTube. But if you want to see like all the videos that I do, I only put those on YouTube. Anyway, they put out this publication. So the Congressional Reporting Service, they put out one on December 22nd, explaining that there are certain legal consequences of rescheduling, because those people in Congress that pass the laws, they may not understand or read them. And so then after they pass those laws, they have a report, which they probably don't read, but hopefully somebody in their office asked ChatGPT what it said. Anyway, they've explained what, for example, this is a direct line from it. It goes, substances become subject to the CSA, that's Controlled Substances Act, through placement in one of 5 lists known as Schedules 1 through 5. This is the Congressional Reporting Service explaining to your congressional representatives, A, there's a CSA, B, it ranks drugs from Schedule 1 through 5.
Is this something that's part of the legislative process, or is this something that somebody had a hair up their ass and decided to have a...
No, this is part of the legislative process. And so like, that your congressman is out there calling people for money. Hey, got to get that money. Yeah. Can you help us out? Like, that I'm trying to like fix the problems of the other people that you hate. And then when they're not asking for money, they have to go to like events in the public to be seen. And then they also need to champion legislation that brings home the bacon, which is where, because I made a deal with somebody, an extra $9 million came to my district to build this road. Sure. They don't have time to read the laws that they're making, which is hilarious. Like, could you imagine if the weatherman gets up there and goes like, today it is going to be, I don't know, stick your head outside or something. It's not like I have a National Weather Service post that I could be. Oh, I do. Okay, great. And so today, according to the National Weather Service, it will be cloudy and 57 degrees.
Is this something though? Like, I mean, this is just informative though. It's not going to be like a committee, like here in Washington State. Homegrown has died in fucking committee 3 times. Like the whole legislative process is tedious, and you know the reason why
legislative committee is the default. Like dying in legislative committee is 95% of the chance. And so like you see a bill, like we cover a bill. I'm doing a thing about, oh my God, it's gonna be legal because of this bill that was like introduced. No, bitch, like I am just trying to get clicks. I mean, that must be it. Like, you know, it's like, oh, didn't get enough YouTube attention this month. Maybe they need to understand that if they pass this bill, it will be legalized. And at the end, I should just do a disclaimer. There is a 97% chance this bill will not pass. See you next time.
Yeah. No, that's what's disheartening about this process, where you're always surprised if anything gets far. And that's why rescheduling is so important, because it's like the back door of the process, right? Congress ain't going to fucking do it. You know, it's not there's no superpower or lobby out there working for you, the consumer.
Man, I love the name of this. We need some strains called No Joke. Hey, let's place the name that strain. It's a little early for name that strain, but at the same time, shout out to Chad. Chad is fast at his pivot into clones and tissue cultures and not selling seeds, because if you're selling seeds, you should fast pivot into clones and tissue cultures. You need some help on that. I got a law firm you can meet over at cannabisindustrylawyer.com. You know what? That's what we'll do. We'll throw to an ad after we throw to NTS.
Do it.
We'll be right back. The cannabis space is not just about product categories and compliance. It's also about deals and disputes. Every compliance misstep can become litigation leverage. The Howard Law Group, they specialize in cannabis M&A, strategic transactions, and high-stakes litigation for operators, brands, and investors. When license control, partnership disputes, or regulatory interpretations threaten value, they know how to protect it. There's a link below to Howard Law Group if you're looking to lock down counsel.
Hey, I know that guy.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go over that ad. That was one of those things where you do the ad the first time, and then you go like, "This is crap. I have to do that ad again,
dude.
I'm not doing it before the next show. I'll just roll that ad." Anyway, we are here with Forest. That is by Relief Botanicals. They are sponsoring Name That Strain. I'm not going to tell you where you can buy them because I am literally not allowed to. I will say that they are a licensed cannabis cultivator from the state of Illinois. And so you can do the math. The only place to buy those products are licensed cannabis dispensaries, not hemp shops. But this one is by Relief Botanicals, Forest. Quite frosty. Quite nice. And for the viewers of the show, it's basically the same Name That Strain as last time. We did not do a show last week. So if you can remember the last Name That Strain, but its original name, not its AKA name, its original name, you will get it.
You have any hints? Like
we got hints. Hints is a genetic cross between Very Cherry and Notorious THC. Let's see what happens when Miggy becomes the...
It's not exactly like the last one. It's like half a last one. Oh, hey.
Trying to comply with the terms of service.
Yes, we do. God damn it.
Anyway, and it's fantastic. I'm not doing it right now, but I'm doing a different one. Medical marijuana patients often choose this particular strain when dealing with symptoms associated with anxiety, depression. Hella jelly it is. And so if you want to try some Relief Botanicals Forest, that is their flower brand, go check out their stuff at a place which we were not allowed to name.
You said these guys are the infused 3-gram joint I was smoking?
Yeah, man.
That was delicious. Like that was a quite enjoyable, like it helped besides the shitty weed that I had. That was the thing that helped keep my days over when I was out there. You know what's funny? I think people
we are not allowed to say we will not cover or take their shitty weed. Well, if you have a license in the state of Illinois, it is illegal for our license
To
say we
shitty weed.
refuse to carry you. This is how you do it.
Well,
And
no, I'm not saying
at home, like listening and wondering how the game works. It's like this. We'd love to get you in our store.
I think
Don't
though,
call him back.
If it's shitty weed though, like you gotta be honest with them and be like, yo, I can sell, because people smoke cigarettes. You know what I'm saying? That's the small thing about legalization and lab testing is like, if people were just to fucking require lab testing, that's really the only rule we need for this plant. So people know what they're smoking, right? Because some people use it for medicine, some use it for fucking Good Friday night.
Yep.
Either way, some people don't care about pesticides, metals. Other people do. You know, there's so many components to smoking something. Like people don't get that from cigarettes. You know, this is a plant that actually, you know, helps people, right? Like this is, I don't know, it's just frustrating. Because
how many years? 30 years of frustration. 29. Like 30 years ago in 96.
I had hair.
And you had dreams. And one of those dreams was to make Prop 215 legal, you know? And so you worked on that.
And that's another
30 years ago.
You know, it's funny though that you mentioned it, is like that's another way how I learned how the process is so fucked up, right? Because I answered an ad in the paper when I was young and looking for a job because I was 21 at the time, and I was like, legalize weed, fuck yeah, let's do that and get paid. Oh my god, what else? You just named my dream job, and it turns out it was collecting signatures, right? Like you got paid per however amount, and I did it for like a week. There was no paycheck right away, so I was just like, you know what? Keep my money, put that towards the legalization effort, whatever. I collected a bunch of signatures, but it just wasn't a good taste of the process. You know, you always like hopes and dreams of just like, yeah, man, we can legalize it because we say that all the fucking time, but how? Right? Like deschedule, but how? you know?
Exactly. Deschedule, but how? Schedule 3, but how? Hemp is no longer going to be able to get you high, but how? And so you read all that stuff, and then you wake up on the weekend after New Year's Day, and the president has ordered a military strike against Venezuela and extracted not only the president, but also his wife, you know, because like conjugal visits and stuff. And so, okay, that was like today. That was it was yesterday.
Seriously.
That's cannabis legalization news. And so on the desk of the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, which if you check out our newest video where I do my predictions, I do intersplice some South Park where she has a brown nose. And now, like, can you imagine like being the associate at the Department of Justice or like the junior lawyer or even the Attorney General, and you have this stack of crap that you're supposed to handle. And now he's like, and then don't forget to take care of marijuana. And you're like, well, we were trying to prosecute James Comey. That was not ending well, by the way. And then we have all these other in front of the Supreme Court. And then you want me to reschedule marijuana. Okay, we'll put that at the top of our, you know, that's going to go up on the heap. We're going to get to that next. We're going to check that off, boss. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And then you bring in Maduro. And you're like, okay, now you got to prosecute this guy. You're like, oh, we're going to need to hire more lawyers.
The whole again, this has been, I mean, I've seen people, we can just bitch about this administration all day. But, you know, the fact is, though,
the administration, I'm just even saying, like, from a procedural standpoint, with how much work they have to do, and then they have to do this.
No, I get that.
Oh, my gosh. And then I forget. Oh, not that. Remember Epstein? Yeah, remember. I remember. Oh my goodness. I forgot to put that on the stack of heap of crap that she's supposed to do. You have 5 million pages and Trump appealed 455,000 of them. And you have to redact everything and then release that. And so how many people can you even throw at this thing anymore? Like, I'm going to quit my job, sell the practice,
But
apply
that's the
for
thing.
DOJ tomorrow, take care of this rescheduling shit until they find out who I am and fire my ass.
But nothing's. I don't think. I mean, it is a huge workload, right? Like you would think most.
And this also happened.
People,
like a lot of them quit.
Well,
a
yeah,
lot of them quit
no,
because they're asking them to do illegal shit.
And that's the thing. The people in president working for this cuckoo stuff, I don't even we call them the little cucks or whatever they are. Of course they're quick to do the bidding, right? Because there was an article by Martinelli. Was that one of our stories? No, I don't think it was. Where he talks about how Trump, like on a side, was like putting pressure on Pam Bondi, like this needs to happen in January, right? Like, but I don't think this is going to be a thing. She don't give a fuck.
No, it is. You can do it. You just run huge appeal risk doing it. And so, like, there's a way to do it. I thought best case scenario, like, late March, we could have gotten it published because they would have collapsed the evidentiary hearing to the fullest extent that they're allowed to under the Controlled Substances Act, Section 811, for all those people that are paying attention to the MSO price. And so, like, with that, sure, the appeal risk is appeal risk, whatever, because who's going to appeal? Sam. Sam's going to appeal. Even though, like, Trump could be like, look, bro, I'll cut you in on this shit coin. Come on, we'll do the Sam shit coin. You make $55 million. You don't need to take the money anymore. But whatever. And so they have to comply with what the law says that you have to do. And it's like, how much can they squish that down and make it fast? Okay, well, what you're doing isn't helping them do that. They can't focus the resources. Like, then there's 5 million, Epstein files. There's all these cases in front of, like, the Supreme Court or in all these other federal courts where they're saying, like, oh, you're not, what's the law that so many states, like, no tax on tips. And so, like, a lot of the blue states are saying, we're not going to do no tax on tips. And so then the Department of Justice has to go out there and frickin' sue everybody. And so he's just using lawyer resources like it's ChatGPT queries. And it's overloading them. And so it's like, okay, well, shit, this is going to delay Schedule 3 cannabis until, summer, fall.
Or this is how you just get rubber stamping, man. People get overloaded and just don't give a fuck.
But, okay, that's true. Okay, now, look, I rubber stamp it. Sam hires Bob Barr and appeals it. He was the former attorney general. He understands what the rules are supposed to be. He's a good lawyer. He's an excellent lawyer. And so he would be able to then sue to enjoin it and delay it further. Sure. And so what's your trade-off? Your trade-off is do it bulletproof so you don't get appealed, or do it fast so you have real appeal. Like, you're going to get appealed either way. And so if you do it the right way, the appeal process is quick and they don't succeed. If you do it the wrong way, you get reversed and remanded back to where you're doing it. And so, like, that's the problem that I really see is now, shit. It's like, you can do it quick, but then doing it quick is like the James Comey case. What happens? You get dismissed.
Well, it's because they're all based off of bitterness. But, when we talk about legalization, how to get to what we need, what we want, and one thing you can look at besides looking at the repercussions of legalization, you can go, hey, there's a whole fucking country, Canada. And also, I think now Croatia or Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic is legal now.
Do you get another story? I mean, like, we have this USDA thing that's going to be in a story that I'm going to be doing here. I got a couple of hemp ones about, like, saving the hemp farmer. I think that the hemp farmer, it'll be like, imagine the hemp farmer doesn't have to resort to trying to pretend like he's not selling marijuana. It's going to be nice.
Right. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? The hemp is supposed to be industrial use components, not freaking human consumption. But the next story was going to be the DOT transportation realizes safety conserve marijuana rescheduling. This is where it wasn't from this story where I learned about the drug testing parameters, but the fact that they're saying this, right? Actually, here it goes. HS authority test laboratories naming Schedule 1 and 2 specifically. Right. So doing 3, but the Department of Transportation say we're still going to require this. That'd be another rule that needs to happen, right? Like, none of this legalization doesn't happen on fucking day.
Chris, there's rules, and like, there's rules and policy and federal laws. Just thick as bricks, hundreds of thousands of words. Like, you would blow out the token context window for, like, everything. There's well more than 1 million context, well more than 1 million tokens of, like, federal rules and regulations. And as a result, it's just you're always breaking some law. Or like you always have some unintended law that would happen if you change another law. And that's one of them, where it says that you usually do not have to test for Schedule 3 and below substances.
Yeah.
Well, because they have a lower standard for abuse. And as a result, but then marijuana is like a unique little thing under the Controlled Substances Act. It's got like its own provisions for how it's treated, even though it is a Schedule 1 substance. It's not considered a drug. Like the political crap on it is apparent if you read the Controlled Substances Act. But this is one of those interesting ones where if it becomes a federal controlled Schedule 3 substance through this rulemaking process, and maybe the Congress like gets involved. That's a big if, by the way. Congress gets involved. Maybe it would happen. Like it might happen if Congress is handled by the Democrats and Trump is on board in his lame duck part of his term in the last 2 years. So like we're talking 2027, 2028.
We talked about this before, but how does an amendment get created, or how does it get initiated? You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
right now they're rescheduling. And so like after they reschedule, they have this, and so like this is all pursuant to the actual Controlled Substances Act. And so I don't know if it would trigger this. There's like another one, CSA, Congressional Rule Act or something like that. I need to figure out what the CRA stands for, but that allows for like major rule changes to be blessed by Congress. Now, it's a 60-day window. And so there's a publication and then you count. And then if nothing happens, and it becomes the law. And so like what usually happens? Nothing. Like a bill is referred to committee, like a bill's introduced. I want to introduce this bill. You realize that bill has a 97% chance of dying, but I still want to introduce it because of the good people that I represent from yada yada country. Yeah. And so that's what they do. Yeah. That's being a representative. That's Congress. And so it gets referred to them and there's no bill. So now you have to refer a bill. It has to be approved. It has to be passed, and then it has to be ratified by the executive. The executive's already told you what he wants. Right. Schedule 3 marijuana. So let's say Congress comes up and tries to do a bipartisan bullshit thing where they redefine hemp. They rejigger what schedule marijuana's in. They say what the rules are. Like that would be the only way that we get substantive cannabinoid reform. Is if Congress hijacks the rulemaking process, but we can't have Congress hijack the rulemaking process at best until like Q1 of this year. And so like in the next 2-3 months at best, at worst, 6 to 10. No, they could delay it. Lawsuits.
How about
it's a Spanish word for takes a while and costs a lot.
Kim Rivers, she put $1 million towards getting, trying to get adult use in Florida. How about, hey Kim, why don't you put that money towards the lit amendment, the 28th? Get it written up.
Yeah. Nobody wants to vote for that. Nobody wants to vote for shit next week or next year or this year because it's 2026. It is an election year. We are out there running for our phony baloney jobs. If you are a Democrat, you blame billionaires. If you are a Republican, you say things are getting better and America first.
That's it, man. And meanwhile, in Texas, officials invite comment on new hemp rules covering age limits, licensing fees, and labeling. You actually have the link to the thing here.
And if you do a Control F, you will find out that hemp is going to not be hemp in Texas anymore. So this is even with, this is the governor, Abbott's administration, making these rules. All right.
Okay.
He is saying total THC. Total THC. What? THCA is gone in Texas. Getting high from hemp is getting regulated and gone in Texas.
Even because everybody, all these hempsters have like hope that like there will be a regulated market. And again, everybody's focused on the CBD bullshit, but the whole thing, it has been 10 milligram THC in most of like your Cheech and Chong drinks, right? No one's tasting the CBD dragon. You know what I
No,
mean? Like,
but what does it say in the executive order? It says CBD THC ratios and container limits. So,
mm,
what if they say 1 milligram per container, 20-to-1 ratio? Because when we got, I listened. I mean, I can go on some more of those. Actually, I really can't. I really only think I remember 4 strains: ACDC, Lifter, and Wife, and Trump. Number one, because that was 8 years ago now when the hemp CBD boom kicked off with the 2018 Farm Bill. That is not what people are they still growing that? I don't know if the hemp farmers are still growing that. I mean, why wouldn't they? Because then they just take it, they extract all the CBD and they turn it into whatever the fuck they want. So they aren't going to be able to turn it into whatever the fuck they want anymore. So if you want to have that, let's say it's 1 milligram of THC, it means you got to put 20 milligrams of CBD in your beverage. It's a lot. It's 21 milligrams of cannabinoid product. Before it was just 5 or 10. It's like, 2 times the strength.
If there was a ratio thing that happened though, wouldn't that also you'd have to re-educate the customer? Because you're going to go for a different experience now, right? Because
no, it's most the same thing. You want it in the bar, distributed by the alcohol guys, so it's not booze that you could drink. And they're going to say well, does it get you high? Has it got THC in it? And you go, it makes you feel great because it's got 20 milligrams of CBD in it and 1 milligram of THC. Or maybe they say the container's 2. Then it's got 40 milligrams of CBD and 2 milligrams of THC.
I just think people have been misled. I think as consumers, with the plant, they don't understand, even it's like with the I think, I watched this Chris 420 Blaze It video today, and it really just irked me because he's all like, the Farm Bill 2018 made it legal though. He just sit on that. It's federally legal. And I'm like, man, did it really in the 8 years since people have lost jobs? People have.
I talked to that guy years ago, and I told him they will take it away from you. It's not what they wanted to do. You got it. I watched him. He's got more subscribers than we do, even though he gets no viewers. But it's because he had some really viral shorts, and really viral shorts can put on a lot of subscribers, and then but no real viewer base. And then he sells weed.
Well, I think he put out good information to do the whole fake trap thing, and even Hawaiian Sustain was saying it made it legal, but it made it legal for your ass to sell it. Didn't make it legal for other people to consume it and transport it, right? There's a legality I'm chasing all my life, and that's just be left the fuck alone. And hemp didn't do that. Hemp's not this protective rule of law bullshit.
It's an entrapment. It's entrapment. Hemp was entrapment. And so hemp's not going to be entrapment anymore, but it's not going to be marijuana. Full spectrum. What's full spectrum CBD? I mean, how do we define full spectrum CBD?
Exactly.
Is that a 20-to-1 ratio? Is that a 50-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC? They say you need a little bit of THC, but what is that? Because that's all that Trump gives a fuck about, because that's all what Howard Kessler gives a fuck about. Yeah. And that's Trump's golfing buddy who's a billionaire.
What?
That's the math. That's it.
Yeah. Bastardized legalization.
Not what you want.
Yeah. Seriously. Well, it's just bad juju. We got Georgia in the news too.
Georgia. Yes. The Georgia Department of Agriculture is card check on Georgia Department of Agriculture. So to sell these hemp products, you have an age gate required in Georgia, and they did some fake buys because that's what you do to check your compliance. And out of the 17 establishment they tried to make a buy, 7 failed. So 7 out of 17 hemp retailers failed a card in Georgia. That's one of those headlines that I think is going to get better. But we still have those headlines here in our fair city. Well, how many alcohol retailers do you read about in Seattle that failed the card?
Oh yeah, dude, every business has their people who want to cut corners. But in Georgia, is Georgia a medical use state?
Georgia's got a shitty medical program, kind of like Texas. So Georgia's got a Texas shitty medical program, and so it's basically hemp.
Okay.
And then that's one of the things that I hope Schedule 3 helps to rectify. But then when you have Texas was an MSO murder's row, and you had to have had the money, or like if you had the money and you're a good old boy, you got in. If you were an MSO, you got in. But that was it. And so, why are you like Illinois? You can say that it sucks. Missouri, you can say that it sucks, that it's expensive. Illinois is expensive. Illinois is stupid. And thank you for giving us the license, but you're stupid. And so just because I'm doing the cost segs and spreads between our dispensary and ones in New Jersey, New Mexico, Missouri, and even in Maryland and other states and Minnesota and Washington State. And Illinois is the most expensive. The vault requirements in Illinois are stupid. It's not plutonium. It's not plutonium, especially after the hemp experiment, where 500,000 feet from our dispensary is a gaming salon where one guy sits behind the counter that has a full bar, so you can order a scotch. And they'll say, we don't have that scotch. We have Johnny Walker. And then, that's a scotch. I mean, Jack Daniels. And then there are about 8 gaming tables. And so in Illinois, we just have roving. They aren't roving. They're all established. But we have established, in any establishment that you go into, they have video game machines. And so there's just hundreds of billions there's millions and millions of dollars of gambling at low billions, $3 to $5 billion a year of gambling.
Sure.
In these machines. And so they have a lounge and you can buy a drink. They also have a tobacco license, so you can buy smokes. And because there are no licenses for them, you have a wall of weed. So all as hemp. So you can buy all the weed you want. You can buy all the cigarettes you want. You can gamble and you can drink. They don't card you when you walk in.
Not every state has a perfect. Even to top it off, besides that, competition or fairness. And again, I want the state markets are the trusted markets, in my opinion now. Unfortunately, Nevada still has shitty weed. I haven't had any good weed in Nevada, but
at least you came over to Illinois and you're like, this weed's all right. And I'm like, yeah,
right. Good, no, it was good. I had a good experience, but to me, also the shopping experience, right? I just don't like how it's a tablet interface, and it's we didn't make the rules.
Sucks.
We have to abide by this bullshit chain of command where someone's gonna be in a barrier to pass your selection to the bud tender. To me, it's just.
I'm not even kidding. We have a little pass-through wall. You'll see it. It wasn't built out when you came over last time. We have a little pass-through wall. It cannot be more than 9 inches.
That's crazy,
right?
Dude.
So you have to be able to take your order from an Illinois cannabis dispensary, and it has to be smaller than 9 inches to have a pass-through wall. Otherwise, you have to have somebody walking around from the secured location. It's in the rules. And so they regulated it like it was plutonium, like it was extremely dangerous stuff. And then they did not regulate hemp at all, even though it's identical or more dangerous stuff.
On top of that, it's the divide between the rec and the medical use in Illinois, right? That's another just bad portion of this legalization. Hey, thanks, David. Appreciate you for being a new member. Thanks for joining us, man.
Welcome.
But I every state's going to have their issues. Eventually, we're going to get this federal thing. But the one thing I can, and I will give respect to hemp, is it did create that conversation where states are like, hey, no one died. So Tennessee is going through some bipartisan lawmakers push for state level marijuana reform. And again, that's what it is. Marijuana reform, not fucking hemp. It's not a hemp THC thing. I mean,
nope.
We don't make it. Yeah.
That's why you got it. You got it because it got you high.
That's what you want.
You didn't get it because it was a sweater. You didn't get it because you could paint your house with it. You aren't using it for its industrial purposes. You're using it for being a drug. And therefore it should have different types of rules. But I think Illinois has jumped the shark when it comes to how regulated it is, especially with the juxtaposition of you've taken a completely unregulated hands-off approach to the hemp market. So you have the exact same product, one which is strict and safe, that was grown in the state, that is tax advantage for the state, that is passed, that has passed panels so that it can actually be put, that has like recall abilities, that has carding into it.
Yeah.
And then right next to it, you have the guy on the block, but now he's at a gaming salon, or he's at a gas station, or he's just at a smoke shop, or he's just on the internet making weed cigs, and like that's the thing. Like there's no rules, and then there's too many rules.
There's nobody following up, checking on the gas station weed. I mean, I told you that story of the guy at the vape shop down the street from Pekin. I stopped in there to say hi, just to check it out. He was selling pre-rolls and shit, and I was like, "Hey, man, are you still going to sell this?" When he's like, I don't care. He's just making the opportunity now, but like he was saying, gas stations, like he gets inspected for having this whatever nicotine license he has.
Right.
He says gas stations, they just do what they want all fucking day. He's like, I don't care, So none of it's fair, and that's the thing about Illinois' market is, especially when you're going against the legal market is fighting amongst itself as far as adult use medical. Why is that separate? And then you got those third party players that are just popping up shop everywhere. Like,
no, the legal market is bifurcated because you have the original players that are just like so big, they tell the regulators what to do. And then you have like the smaller players like us that are like, please, regulators, how do we do this correctly? Like, give us some guidance. Is this, I mean, like, if they give us a ding because of our floor plan after I gave it to them 4 times, like in Missouri, they match you with somebody. And so like if this was Missouri, and so like with our Missouri guy, like it just sucks to be a micro in Missouri. And so like, can you imagine if we could get open and then we would just go sideways or lose money? Like you get more poor by getting into business.
Yeah. No.
Because there's no supply to stock your shelves and you can't turn your shelves over. But in ours, like we can buy from everybody. And so like we get open, we could buy from all these big guys that stack the rules so that we lose because then we need them. But that's just business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is this store's going to be beyond us, right? Like capitalism is not pretty, but it's also like it could be. I was in a chat this morning with a local. She purchases, like she's like part of a district manager for a local store out here, and she was bitching about prices, right? And there's like this markup. I mean, as a consumer here in Washington State, I can only base if I'm getting a good deal by just going to various other shops, right? Like I go, okay, the same pack that I bought here for $42, I'm getting for 32. Well, fuck, I'm gonna go to the $32 place, but like. She was saying like even then I'm still kind of getting ripped off, and I don't know what the real numbers are, but each state's going to be different because everybody has a bottom line they're trying to meet. Nobody wants to pay the taxes that these fuckers are putting on top of them, right? And everything gets passed down. But we hope to, I think, develop a community because we're going to be localized. That's where the story is.
Right. We're going to be local, which is unique, and we're going to be in a historic location, and we're going to be a good member of their downtown Chamber of Commerce. But that's all in the future. Right now, Miggy and I got our fingers crossed that we actually get approved for that loan.
Please.
We should. I mean, like minority owned, social equity, justice involved because you've been arrested too. Renovating a 115-year-old building in a disproportionately impacted area. And if you give us the cash, we're open in like a matter of weeks.
We're across from a courthouse too.
Yeah.
It's a interesting thing, man. I'm excited.
And so if you guys are still here tuning in, thank you so much. Don't forget, maybe become a member or give us some thumbs up to help spread this, because when we talk about these things, and now that we have this sponsor for 420 somewhere, it'll be interesting to see how advertiser like friendly these podcasts become, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's still one of those things. And then we'll touch base with you next week. And I have at least one video coming about why you shouldn't be so upset. If you're in hemp and you're worried, don't worry. It's going to work out pretty good. You just don't see the demand yet. And we'll do a video for that. And then if you're in cannabis and you're like, oh, good, Schedule 3 is going to be here in a minute and a half, or it already is here. You can worry. You can worry a little bit, and I'll do a video about that later. Yeah.
Right on, man. Appreciate y'all hanging out.
Appreciate you guys.